Hey tennis fans, I'm Grace Carter and this is Tennis Now presented by Tennis Express. Get your favorite tennis gear at tennisexpress.com today. Saying goodbye is never easy, and in some cases it's darn near impossible. In 2024, we had to say goodbye to a lot of the great players who have ever played this sport and a host of supporting characters that helped define their generation. In today's edition of Tennis Now, we're going to look back at some of the tremendous talents who retired this season, and it's quite a list. Starting, of course, with Rafael Nadal. At 38, after many years of deliberation, it was finally time for Rafa to say goodbye. Nadal's name will forever be etched into the fabric of our sport, and his 14 Roland Garros titles, well, that's a record that'll still be talked about 100 years from now. Next up, Andy Murray. Three-time Grand Slam champion Andy Murray said goodbye to fans at Wimbledon for the final time. The man who famously broke the 76-year-old Fred Perry curse is beloved by British fans and others all over the world. And if it wasn't for the big three, Andy would likely have won many more majors. But even so, he won his share and finished 2016 as the world number one. He also won 2 Olympic gold medals in singles and the Davis Cup. A great career. Next on our list, Angelique Kerber, another 3-time Grand Slam champion, ended her comeback at the age of 36, ending an illustrious career that featured 34 weeks at number 1 and 2 victories over Serena Williams in major finals. Dominic Thiem, another retiree this year. A wrist injury curtailed the career of this dynamic Austrian. A lot of people believed he'd become a dominant force at Roland Garros, but he was never quite the same after an injury to his wrist. Thiem still managed to become Austria's first Grand Slam champion since Thomas Muster, when he won the U.S. Open in 2020. Diego Schwartzman is next on our list. Schwartzman was the little engine who could. At only 5'7", the Argentine relied on his wheels and a giant heart to become a perennial top 10 talent who could lock horns with the biggest names in sport. He was famous for his fighting spirit and his relentless fire. Garbine Muguruza is also on our list this year. She won 2 majors at Roland Garros and at Wimbledon, and at one point she held the number 1 ranking. She was fiery and a powerhouse of a player. Off the court, she was a radiant personality who is universally adored. French player Alizé Cornet is next. A talent ever since she turned pro at age 16, Cornet was an entertaining character who had a flair for the upset. She notched 4 wins over reigning world number 1 players, 3 of which came against the great Serena Williams. She finished her career by making her 69th consecutive Grand Slam main draw appearance, which is the all-time record for a woman. Next up, Dustin Brown. Theatrical, creative, bombastic, and fuego. The Jamaican played with reckless abandon, especially on the Wimbledon grass. He put the dive back into the sport and was never, ever boring. Dustin is one of those players who could never be judged by his ranking. Anybody who ever watched him knew that immediately. Next on our list, Pablo Cuevas, a shotmaker extraordinaire and the pride of Uruguay. Pablo Cuevas reached a career-high ranking of 19 and entertained fans with his stylish brand of tennis. He's the highest-ranking player in Uruguay's history. Another retiree, American Shelby Rogers, a powerhouse who hit one of the cleanest balls on the WTA circuit. And the former world number 30 knew how to notch a big win. One of her biggest moments, knocking off then world number 1 Ash Barty at the 2021 U.S. Open. Another American, Steve Johnson, called it quits this year. One of the best college players in history, Steve Johnson also carved out a tremendous pro career, reaching number 21 and winning 4 titles. João Sousa, former world number 26, was the first Portuguese player to ever win a title on home soil. He finished his career with 4 ATP titles and is the highest-ranking player from his country in history. Another American makes the list this year, and that's Donald Young. He was a junior number 1 who won the Australian Open boys title at age 15. He went on to reach a ranking of number 38 in the ATP, but will also be known as a mentor who paved the way for other black players such as Chris Eubanks and Taylor Townsend. John Millman also makes the list. The Aussie grinder played the game with tons of grit and competitiveness. His victory over Roger Federer in sweltering humidity at the 2018 U.S. Open will go down as one of his greatest victories. He won 121 matches on tour and earned one ATP title. There are others who have retired in 2024, and we thank them all for their service. From Nadal to Millman and beyond, everybody's contribution to our sport is appreciated. And we thank you all for making professional tennis the exciting spectacle that it is today. I'm Grace Carter. We'll see you next time here on Tennis Now.